Welcome to Overview Advanced Control Points, extremely flexible tool for design in Unreal Engine 5. Let's walk through Overview map first and see its possibilities. First of all, Overview map has many cases, and the left cases, the blue one, is for the characters and the right are for pure actors. The first, let's look at the colorful pins. They are control points. Control points. With control points we create paths for walking or for flying. Let's see. Let's trigger this case and see the guy character running between control points. This is a special control point for with action of spawn actor. This is for destroy actor. As you can see, it's one actor destroyed from the stack and the guy running. You can see also the icons here. The red arrow is mean that this control point is occupied, and the target mean the control point is targeted. So someone will running to this control point. Let's see case 2. This is similar path created by control points, but on the one path can run much more characters. In this case, 4 characters. You can see that they never meet, even if they have different speed, but they bypass each other. If any control point is occupied or targeted, they simply bypass this control point and go further. Let's see case 3. It's very similar to case 2, but on this one path they waiting for each other. They have different speed. Yes, but if any control points where they going is occupied or targeted, they wait to free them. You can also see that occupation is disappear about 1.5 meters after the control point is left. Its behavior, which you can control. For example, in case 1, the occupation arrow disappear when a character arrive to the next control point. So let's see case 4. In case 4 we have a green flag, which is a spawn point. One time for a 7-second spawn character which going through the same control point path, and on the last control points there is a action destroy and action spawn particle. This is a spawn particle cascade, and here with a lighting is a spawn particle Niagara. You can see they both work greatly. Okay. Oh, maybe something else, something more in this case. They're running very smoothly. When someone arrives to this control point, it not decelerate this character and not accelerate, not stop for any frame. It's very smooth movement. But you can see the normal behavior of Unreal Engine is to decelerate, accelerate, and stop for one frame between them. So it's visible in animation and in movement. You can change it in this tool. Okay, let's see what we have next. Case 5. There is a spawn point and a lot of control points, and first time characters don't move through them sequentially but random. They choose random control points from few nearest control points. The number you can of course parameterize, and you can see there is a few colorful control points where characters change their materials. This is a special action for this. Also, there is a very nice things. 60 seconds after the spawn, character will disappear, destroy, so we never have more than few actors here. Let's see next case. Case 6. Case 6 is first time moving on spline. So first time I need to eject to see spline, and the guys running through spline. This green triangles is spline points to modify and adapt spline. All the guys wait for the 3 next control points, so he waits, and on the last control point there is a destroy, spawn particle, and also spawn sound. So spawn particle, spawn sound, and destroy actor. So it looks very naturally. Okay, back to game. Case 6. Let's see case 7. This case showing us how to play animation. Animation simple, animation sequence. The blue path, in blue path there is only a single animation shot and nothing more. So as you can see, animation blueprint is turned off, so after the animation sequence nothing happened. In the white case, let's see, animation sequence is played and animation blueprint is reset. So everything working, everything is working as it should in animation blueprint. Okay, the yellow path, animation sequence is played and played from reverse mode. Here is played in violet but only partially, and reverse from the same animation position. So we can mix a lot of different parameters. Here we have the same, partly play and reverse, but in slow motion on green path. And the last, red path, play animation, and in the middle of the animation the sound 3D is spawned. Let's see now case 8. It's almost the same case like before, but concern montage. This is only blue path one time play montage and do nothing more. Simply continue movement. Here, in white path, montage is played partially and simply movement is continue. So you can see the behavior and the yellow path, completely montage playing and reverse. Here is a in violet path motion. Montage is played only partially and reverse from this position. Here in the green path is also a partially movement, but in slow motion and reverse. In the last one, red path, montage is played, and during the montage is Spawn sounds 3D action. You can put any kind of action in the middle of the montage. Okay, let's see case 9. We also need to eject to see splines. The first blue path, it's normal action for going next control point. So it's use navigation mesh, it's use normal movement component, character movement component, behavior, so it's bypass obstacle. In the yellow path we have advanced moving on spline with pathfinding. So if he find obstacle, he bypass the obstacle also in moving on spline. Here the green path is advanced moving on spline but without pathfinding, so he don't bypass obstacle and have unpredictable behavior here. It's very useful because without pathfinding it's much more efficient, but he cannot move through obstacles. And the last violet path has very simple movement on spline, so he walked through walls, but the advantage is very good performance for this, but also animation for movement is counted manually for animation blueprint. Here in advanced mode is counted by movement component, so it's the different. Now let's see case 10. Back to game, because we cannot trigger when we are eject, and also we must to eject to see again spline movement. Spline can be added to any path of control points, and we can use spline movement or not. It's our decision. When guy running from the green to the red control points, he walked through path. When from the red to green, he walk straight to the next control point, don't using spline. So as you can see, he using spline and here don't use spline and don't use spline. Use and run through spline and don't. And on the dark control point, he used special movement with jump. Okay, back to game. and see case 11. Case 11 showing us different rotation procedure. Here is a ignore rotation. What does that mean? That character use its own built-in character movement component rotation. So we can ignore it, and this is the most useful case for performance, because we don't count anything here. Here is looks smoothly in the direction of movement. You can see that he smoothly moves. Here look instantly in the direction of movement. It's almost the same behavior like in movement component. Here the guy looking at the red cone, as you can see, he looking at the red cone instantly. Here looking in the direction of the red cone, so the object, smoothly. In the next subcase, the character looks smoothly in the custom direction, and here look instantly in the custom direction. What is the difference? The difference is visible on the start. When he starts moving, the smooth movement is behave in time, but here instantly. The blue subcase is the movement is look in the direction of movement, but with offset. In this case, Z 90 degree. So you can see that the guy strafe. In the classical third-person character in animation blueprint, we don't have any strafing mode, any strafing animation, so it looks funny, but in your character, in your NPC, can be strafe. Here, looks smoothly in the direction of movement with offset also, so he all the time strafe, but it happens smoothly. As you can see, it's smooth movement. Okay, let's see case 12. Case 12 also uses splines, so I need to eject and see first red subcase. The guy running between control points and mid slopes. Because the movement use character movement component, there is not a problem. You can parameterize this through movement component. Here is the same movement on the green path. There is two slopes with normal movement and the guy running here normally. The violet path is move on spline, but without finding floor. Finding floor is a special function which finding the floor position. So without it looks like this. It's very good for performance, but without finding a floor for any obstacles. A yellow subcase is orange. Yes, it's move on the spline with advanced move with finding floor. So, as you can see, move on spline can be also with slopes, with hills, and everything looks good. And the last one method is method simple, white. What does that mean? Simple and advanced. Simple method counting manually the movement for animation blueprint. So it's much faster, but it's not perfectly the same like in movement component. Here in white path, he cannot bypass obstacle, only walk on slopes. But here in orange, he can bypass obstacle. So back to game and see case 13. This case showing us action trigger. The control point plus has action trigger start. The control point minus has action trigger stop. So what he's stopping? He's stopping advanced control point system in other places. Let's see the red guys. There is a one spawn point and the guys walking through 10 control points, and on the last one they simply, okay, I will eject for one moment and back. Okay, the guy are destroyed. So when the action trigger tell to the spawn point to stop spawning, it stops spawning, but the guys which are spawned are simply continue the movement. When they start, or like here, the spawn point starting spawn again, and it's look like this. The green path is almost the same as previous, but all actors spawned by this spawn point are stopped. The control point system is stopped completely. Stop. Trigger stop. Okay. The black path. Okay, there is trigger start. So the guys spawning and walking through this control point. But when stop, they also destroy all of the actor belonging to this spawn point. You can control all the guys from this spawn point by destroying them. And the last path don't have the spawn point, but it start and stop independent actors walking through this path. Okay. So let's see what happened in case 14. Case 14 is very similar to previous case, but we start and stop cases by ourselves. Here is a sphere trigger which start this subcase and will be spawning all the time until we stop it and stop it and stop spawning, but the guy's walking further. Here we can start and the green spawn point spawning, and when we stop it stops spawning and the guy simply standing here. If we start, it starts. If we stop, they stop. The next case with destroy, start, spawn, black spawn point spawning, and when stop, all of them destroyed and stop spawning. Start, stop. Everything looks great. Here is a last spawn, the independent actors. As you can see, they move and wait for each other. As you can see also in the exclamation mark, there is a special possibilities for activate actions. They activate only once, so they change color to themselves and they spawn particles, but only once. Okay. And the last case, 15 for character. On one control point path can be much more than one character at once. Here we can see that targeted characters, 3 targeted characters here. And maybe 5 here will be occupied, more than one. No, it did not happen, but targeted here. Okay, so as you can see, you can move a group of AI to do something on the same designed path. Okay, so we talk about the character, but we also have pure actors, not pawns, not characters, only pure actors. Oh, I ran one of the case accidentally. So the green cases, case 1 for pure actor. This is a simple chopper which flying from one control point to another. As you can see, the movement rotation is instantly, the occupation standing until the next control point, and movement is very, very simple. Okay, case 2. Two actors move on the same path, but from opposites, and they bypass each other if they meet together. Oh, you can see they bypass each other, and the movement is much more smoothly because the rotation procedure is set up to smooth rotation. Okay, let's see case 3. On the same path, the spawn point, the egg, the blue egg, spawn maximum 3 concurrent actors. and they don't bypass, they wait for each other when the next control point is occupied or targeted, so they wait. But here is something special. We have two control points here, and they landing, okay, they landing, they waiting, and go again here. What's happened here? As you can see, rotation procedure is smoothly, so we always look to the direction of movement. Here, no. The movement rotation is ignored. It's created by override settings. And here, in the last control point, we wouldn't see before, all of the spawned actors from this spawn point is destroyed. So they start again, they spawning and movement. So let's see what happened in case 4. We have two spawn points, the blue one and the yellow one, and we have a lot of control points, and all of the actors which is spawned from this spawn pointing move randomly between them, like before in character. But what's different? We can see one special control point with exclamation mark has a higher priority than the rest of the control points. What does that mean? When the control point with higher priority is empty, any actor which look for the next control point will choose this control point. So all the time this control point is occupied, because even if it's free for a little time, the next actor which will looking for the next control point go to them. So normally they flying random, but if it's possible they go to the higher priority control point. Let's see case 5. Okay, we can see here few things. First of all, the spawn pointing is here, but the first action from the spawn pointing is to teleport. So they spawning here, but in the first frame they appear here from this control points, and I can eject, and you can see what happened here. On the spline movement you can create bombarding. Okay, let's back to game. And see what is in case 6. I ran this case accidentally before, so we have two paths which mixed with one special control point. This control point belongs to the blue and the yellow path. If the guys, if the choppers see that this control point is occupied or targeted, they wait. You can imagine, for example, trains which wait to each other, or any crossroads or something like this in your game, in your city. You can see the slopes. Okay. Very nice. So now we finish all of pure actors and characters cases. Now we can start special cases. This is a special case 7 for pure actor, but before I trigger, I tell you something about it. This is a trigger for triggering this case, but here is a trigger for starting the trip. If I eject from game, you can see 3 different splines. The first spline is here. This is the target of the camera movement. Here is the spline of bird flying. And here, this, a huge ellipse, is the path of camera. So, the sphere triggering the camera for sequence, and this starting the special case. So, as you can see, there is not visible any control points and any icons. It's a game behavior in shipping behavior. Okay, it starts at the trip. Okay, it's automatic. I leave my hands. This beautiful sequence is created real-time by advanced control point system. Okay, you can see now the message in the top left of the screen. The message is a debug print screen. It's an action. It's an action, but triggered from the. It's triggered from the trigger, not from the control point. It's a special trigger task. Okay, I still don't have a enable input because enable input is disabled for the player. So now I have movement possibility again. As you can see, the birds flying around the tower. And this is very simple method to use this design tool. It's really designed in about 20 minutes, all the movement. Okay, let's see next shipping example. So this is a case for pure actor and character And now I eject the game and see this is a special spline for magic movement. You can see for a while. Let's start the game again. Trigger. And we can see the guy. He make a fire and push this fireball and run again. And this is something special. He should destroy himself or teleport, but only when they are not, when he is not rendering for a while. So when I go, for example, here a little and back, okay, he teleport again and starts everything from the beginning. Okay, so as you can see, this is a mixed move of two different things. One control point path is for this character, and one control point path with spline is for the magic fireball. Okay, let's see the case 8 with pure actor, also without any control point and any icon visible. Let's start. So here in the pillar, around pillar, traveling emitter cascade, and above the pillar is particle Niagara. Yes, you can see the icons in the center of them. It's a Unreal Engine 5 bug. So when you build your game, they disappear, but in editor it's visible. So you can see this particle icons. So when I go here and trigger, so when I touch the pillar, they travel to the next pillar. Here is the same. When I touch the pillar, step on the black circle, they travel to the next pillar. And a lot of parameters are changed for these emitters. All of the parameters are changed for these emitters is in the actions. So every parameter of the emitters you can change in the action of the control point, in the action in the trigger. So everything you have created, you only can use it. So we check a whole overview map, and what we can see next. I can tell you something about the heart of the system. Heart of the system is the component. This is a simply actor component. When we click any kind of character or actor, which is used here on overview map, in details panel you have control points actor component. Here is the heart of the system, and every parameters is used for the move, for actions and everything else. Whole the system is created modularly and very flexible. You can extend the system very easily and create, for example, new action is take you about 2 minutes, and without any C++ knowledge, only simple blueprint knowledge. So this white chopper has control point component with begin actions. The first action is pure actor, go next. But we of course can add more action. And the next heart of the system is of course control points, which you put on the scene. Here is the list of control point path for this chopper. The next thing is rotation procedure, which you can choose from the 7 different procedure, 7 different behavior for rotation. And if you wish to extend, create new rotation procedure, it's very simply. I will tell you about it in the other movies. Occupied procedure is how to occupy current control point. You have default 3 different states to choose, but of course you can create one if you wish to change something. Okay, and the movement is one on the most important things. Here is movement randomly or sequentially. How to use control point from the array, and we can of course choose the whether we want to start on begin play or not. This is the heart of the system component. The component also has configuration spline. This chopper don't move on spline, so I don't need to create spline for him. But for example, which walking on spline here maybe, who walking on spline without spawn point, walking on spline. Okay, so maybe I tell you something about spawn point. It's almost the same as component, has also begin actions. Here is 3 different actions for set material, randomize speed, and go next. Here path control points, rotation procedure, occupied procedure, move order, in this case sequentially, and also procedure specially for spawn point. It's a spawn triggerator. It decides how often he spawn actor. We can choose a custom interval or randomized interval in selected time. And also we have a procedure spawn chooser, which is a sequentially or random. What does that mean? We can spawn from this array spawn classes, more than one class. And we can choose the classes to spawn, for example 5 different classes, and sequentially change what actor is spawned here. And of course more parameters like action controller, like lifespan, and this is very important parameter, maximum number of concurrent actors. What does that mean? in the same time on the level can be, for example, here 6 different actors on the scene. So spawn point will not spawn until they don't have a place for the next actor. For example, if he spawn 6 actors, he don't spawn again. But if some of them were destroyed, then in the next possibilities the spawn point will spawn next actor. But as component, spawn point also has configuration spline, but here is a full field because this is a spline. So this spline is chosen from the. This is created automatically. You can create automatically spline on the path of control points which are in the spawn point or component. So you can create new spline. I don't want to create new spline because I have one. I can also remove the spline. Inside the spline there is of course spline points and original control points. The special spline points is created automatically when you create spline and is very useful. You can use 4 different buttons to manipulate the spline, and also you can move the point and refresh spline only position, for example, and you can see the spline is changed. And here, for example, you can select parameters, which is here. Okay, is auto update spline, configuration spline. If I click it, the spline is changed automatically. I don't need to refresh it. It's very useful for design. Okay. Also control point, of course, has these parameters. So when I click here, I change spline in real time when design level. Moving control points. Okay. What's next? Control point. I click one of them. Control point. The most important things of the control points is actions. Actions is the array of the actions which actor going through it will activate. You can see there is a lot of actions. There is 40 actions. Default action. You can of course create your own action. It's very simple, and the system is designed for extent. It's specially designed for extent. This is only default action. It's of course you need to create your own action for your own project. Can be virtual production, game, or any kind of tool, maybe virtual reality, anything you wish. Okay, so this is an array of the action. This is a range, in which range you can see seen before the occupied icon disappear in this range, the range of accept to reach this control point and use in few different situations. You can use also override settings. When you click it and change, you can see that you can change all of the system. What does that mean? If the guy spawned from this spawn point, then he has some set of parameters. You can set this. You can set new set of parameters here and completely change, for example, the path on which actor moving. You can change everything: begin actions, control point, rotation procedure, occupied procedure, move orders, spline. So he can move to another spline, for example, and maybe begin action will be teleport, so he teleport, or go to next. I don't know. It's anything you wish. Okay. And of course, every control point has its own spline tools for manipulate spline belonging to it. And the next things for spawn point, for control point, for spline is the style. When I click for this control point, okay, we can close it a little. Okay, we have a configuration spline, and configuration style. We can choose whether this billboard showing up in game or not is center to bottom. It depends on what kind of material we prepare. We can create our own styles. Whether it shows occupied or targeted icon. What is the scale? For example, we change the scale for 2 and style update. Okay, it show occupators name. Whether we want to see the names of the occupators or targeter on these control points, and the different styles. Every style has three different materials. First is the outside material, second is inside material, and third is the icon material. What does that mean? For example, we change outside to red, inside to violet, and the icon to, for example, plain black, and style update. As you can see, everything changed. So you can create a lot of different control point paths with for different destination, for different behavior, and you can coloring them for what they do, and or what actions they have, whenever you want. The same is for spawn point. Also has a configuration style with flag, with box. For example, I want to change to box blue and red arrow, and here for box I don't need the icon, and style update, and I have a completely different spawn point. And this is only for billboard. You can disable it in shipping, so you don't pack it, don't influence to your performance. It's only for design. And the next part of the system are triggers. When I click to the trigger has configuration. How many it's possible to trigger this trigger? It's once. So when I go second time to this trigger, it's nothing happen. And the tasks. I have the array of the tasks, trigger tasks, which is run when I trigger this trigger. So I have a few default trigger tasks, but I can create very easily new one for my tasks. So I can stop the control point system, start, change settings, run custom concurrent action on any actors or any actor belonging to spawn point. I can print debug string, enable or disable player input, or destroy any actors. So, of course, every actions has its own parameters. For example, print string has its own configuration to string, to everything what should be here. And if we see the start tasks, now we can see what is the global manager. Here we can turn on global manager. And as we can see, it's an independent window for controlling everything on the level. For example, control points. We can change some parameters of control points every on the level. Let's go to the output log, clear log, and see. For example, if we play, we see these control points, yes? But override setting, which we set before, in this movie we don't parameterize, so some actors cannot move because the validation is bad. I will tell you about validation for a moment. First of all, here in the global manager, I want to change billboard to false, showing billboard in the game. I want to change in every 511 control points on the level. I change it. So when I play now, I don't see any control points. In one click, I want to show it again, apply and play, and I see them again. I can also change show occupation icon, show targeted icon, show occupator's name, show targeter's name. So I can change these things in individual control point here, or in some selected also. I can change it. For example, when I put it here, let's play, and I see every control point, but not these few control points. And from global manager, I can influence to every control point on this level. Also, I can set new default style. For example, when I put control points, the default is the white control point with icon steps. Okay, but I can change it and put, for example, blue outside, orange inside, and question mark black as icon, and set everything, for example, scale to 5, and show, maybe we don't need names. So now I put simply control point. As you can see, I change it, maybe I change to black, and now if I put on the scene, I have a black, or maybe something white here, and I change some control points, new style. The same I can do with spawn point. By default, spawn point is a black flag, but I can change it to, for example, flag orange with number with, for example, plus black with scale 4 and show billboard in game. And what happened if I put, yes, as you can see, I change spawn point style. I can change, of course, to something very different. For example, box with arrows, and none, because there is no icon in this style, and put here on the scene. As you can see, spawn point change his style, default style. So what next? Validation is the last part, but not the least. What is validation? Every control point and every control point has special button validate. Clear log and click validate. What is validate? Here. He validate if any kind of parameters is not bad. For example, if I create action without choosing any action and I validate, I have an error and this control point don't work now. So has var action at index first not valid. So what does that mean? When I, for example, click to this chopper and onto the action control point actor component and validate this chopper, what will happen? It validates all of the other parameters and also all control points belonging to. So I see that this control point in this control point path is not valid. So I need to delete this action, yes, and validate this control point. Yes, it's validate pass successfully, and again back to the control point component, click and validate. Yes, of course this component validate pass successfully because every point of them is validated well. Also, for example, if I create action and add any kind of action, for example, play sound 2D, and go to configuration and do not fulfill anything and try to validate this chopper. I cannot, because in chopper begin actions at index 1 action name play sound 2D validated with errors. Sound is empty or not valid because we didn't fulfill sound parameter. When we fulfill and validate, so it validates pass successfully. So every action has validation. So if we make a mistake somewhere or don't fulfill something, it will tell us. And in Global Manager we can validate all of the control points of the level. So as you can see, there is some errors. Why? Because we create settings override before without fulfilling the data. Now we create some control point without fulfilling the parameters. They have actions empty array, which is mandatory. So the validation system is especially interested for designers, testers, to validate whether the system working good. Okay, so I think it's everything. Have a nice day and bye bye.